There's important news coming from the SRA on the SQE. Firstly, the SQE2 exam is now moving to scaled scoring, just like SQE1. Secondly, more sample MCQs have been released. Thirdly, the publication of SQE providers' pass rates has been put on hold by the SRA. And finally, the SRA is going to conduct an independent evaluation on aspects of the SQE. Stay tuned for more details after the jingle.
If you wanna be solicitors, why don't you come and visit us at SQE TV?
Regular viewers will recall that the SRA introduced scaled scoring for SQE1 exams in January 2024, and that was to even out any unfairness between two candidates of the same ability who sat different assessments on different days with different questions. And in SQE1 now, scaled scoring irons out that unfairness by converting your raw score, that's the number of questions that you answer correctly out of 180, to a mark out of 500 for each of the FLK papers. And they do this by adopting a complex mathematical formula. So the SRA has said that they're going to be doing something similar now from January 2025 for the SQE2 assessments, meaning that the overall pass mark for SQE2 will now be 300 out of 500. Let's hope that this goes better than when scaled scoring was introduced for the first time in January 2024 for SQE1, when some candidates were told they'd failed where they'd actually passed. Lightning doesn't normally strike twice in the same place, and let's hope it doesn't do so again.
SQE TV.
At long last, the SRA has published more sample multiple choice questions for SQE1. Just to remind you, the SRA published 90 sample MCQs before the first ever SQE1 sit in November 2021. And in the following 3 years, they have, until recently, only published a further 40 questions. So it's disappointing after all the wait and 6 sits of SQE1 that the regulators only released a second additional set of 40 sample questions. So candidates now have 170 official sample MCQs, but that's still less than half of the 360 you're required to answer in SQE1. And disappointingly, there's still not a single sample paper in sight, which begs the question, how are the SRA and Kaplan actually spending the £66 million they generate collectively in SQE income? It's certainly not for providing candidates with the same level of support given by GCSE, A-level and university boards. What do you think? We'll be taking a look at some of the new MCQs in forthcoming videos, so make sure you check them out.
SQE TV.
Despite promising to publish the pass rate data for SQE providers and their courses by the end of both 2023 and 2024, there's still no sign of any such data being published by the regulator, the SRA. Now, we're able to report on SQE TV that the SRA has recently informed providers that their plans for publication are currently on hold again. We've covered this extensively on other videos, so please do check them out. But at this stage, we should reiterate that until the SRA works much more closely with providers to sort this out, I'm afraid there's no hope for any reliable data on SQE providers' candidates' performance being published centrally any time soon. So it seems in the meantime, for the foreseeable future at least, we're left with the situation where providers are surveying their own students to ascertain their pass rates, but only a handful of them are still publishing any figures at all. That's pretty poor 3 years into the SQE regime, don't you think?
SQE TV.
And the final part from the SRA's latest SQE update that I'd like to share with you is that the regulator has announced that it's going to commission some independent research by evaluating aspects of the SQE, and in particular whether the SQE is on track to achieve its objectives of providing, firstly, greater assurance on consistent standards at the point of admission, and secondly, whether it's encouraging the development of new and diverse pathways to qualification. In a forthcoming longer video, we'll look at the remit of this research and ask whether it hits the jackpot or misses the mark in terms of what candidates, firms and providers would like the regulator to be evaluating 3 years into the SQE. In the meantime, I hope you found this SQE news update useful. For more similar content and a smorgasbord of information on all things SQE, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you can catch all of our new videos as soon as they drop. And as we always do, when we finish an SQE TV video, we say, it's now time for the jingle.
If you wanna be solicitors, why don't you come and visit us at SQE TV? TV.